I just finished shoveling the snow, so I'm gonna have my hot tea and thinking about making today, this evening, batch cooking day, only because I have so many other projects going on that I can't really cook and do a project the same evening. So today I'm gonna make a batch of my grandma's bean soup. Out of this chicken from the freezer, I thought this today I'm gonna make chicken paprikash. As you can see, we're kind of in the Hungarian region with these kind of meals. And I also have from the freezer some boneless pork. So I'll think about what I'm gonna make out of this, some kind of stew for the next 3 days for the minimum. I'm gonna have some meals that I can just pull out the microwave. My bean soup will start out with bacon grease, as well as my chicken paprikash will start out with bacon grease, and both need onions. So I'm gonna start out the bean soup with a handful of onions. And same goes for the chicken paprikash. And both will have to be sauteed. For the chicken paprikash, I had my onions sauteed, and I'm gonna be sauteing the chicken pieces. Kind of a medium heat. I'm gonna put some salt on this. And for the bean soup, I fold it over because I'm gonna put in some paprika. Mix that up in the grease so it doesn't burn, but we do want to bloom it. Also, I'll need some bay leaves. 1, 2, 3 will do, those small ones. Before I put it back on the heat, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of flour to thicken the soup later. About a tablespoon and a half. Mix that into the bacon grease. If you need to add more bacon grease, feel free. You're just gonna want to make a paste like that. And then I'm gonna dilute this with a couple of cups of water. So just a little bit water first, and then a little more. And then just mix it well. If you need to, get a whisk. I have one of these little ones for now. Just make sure you don't have lumps. See how thick this is? Better to do it when it's not too diluted before you add the rest of the water, because you get a better friction to get the lumps out. If you make it too loose, it's harder to get the lumps out. So the goal right now is to make a nice broth that will thicken over time as it cooks. And the beans I'm using are already cooked because they were canned, home canned, so I am not cooking the beans really, so I just really need to get this broth going. I think I'm gonna put in some black pepper in this, and some baguette, which is just a vegetable mix that's dried, and it also has salt. Or you can use chicken broth or a bouillon, chicken bouillon as well. While I'm doing that, my chicken is browning nicely for my chicken paprikash. I want to nicely brown all the sides. It's not going to be fully cooked yet, but I do want the brownness first. My chicken is nicely brown now. I'm going to pull it over because it's chicken paprikash. We need a bunch of paprika. And the last thing we want to do is burn our paprika. It will be bitter. There is no limit how much you can put in there. Probably at least a couple of tablespoons. And that's going to make the nice thick gravy. That's part of, or sauce, that's part of the chicken paprikash. So before we put this back on the heat, see how the color changed? We're gonna put some water on this. Not too much. I do like mine a little saucy, so probably we're gonna adjust this as we go, but for now, you just want to kind of cool off that paprika so we can put it back on the heat and simmer it nice and slow. Look at that color. And it smells so good in this kitchen. So now I'm gonna cover this. I did put some ground black pepper on this as well while you were not looking. As I said, just simmer it for about 30 minutes. And that's what I'm gonna do with my bean soup base as well. I just want to make sure it doesn't stick because it does have the flour in it and it doesn't stick, so I do like these new pans. So the last meat I'm gonna add this is the pork. I decided to make a lemongrass pork with rice. So I'm heating a pan here for frying the meat. Bacon grease for all my cooking for today, just because it's convenient and you can't go wrong with that. So I'm gonna just melt some of that, and I'm gonna be using a little bit, just a drop or two, sesame oil. And I'm gonna just dump the meat in this. This is already cut up into little pieces. And I'm gonna go into my freezer and find some kind of vegetable to go with this, to fry up with. I found half a bag of chard, frozen chard. I'm just gonna cook that with the pork. At this point I'm gonna season my pork, a little bit of ginger powder, a little bit of cilantro powder, lots of garlic powder, a little bit of lemongrass powder, or a lot to your taste, and a little bit of hot pepper flakes. The chicken is actually already tender for the paprikash, even though there's 10 more minutes left. So I'm gonna finish this up with sour cream and flour mix. Ideally what you want to do is take a little bit of hot liquid, put that into your sour cream, but I'm dividing this between the bean soup and the paprikash, so I'm gonna just attempt to put this directly into the hot paprikash and mix it real quick. And I think this is gonna need a little bit of more liquid because, as I said earlier, I do like my chicken paprikash saucy. I'm gonna serve this over elbow macaroni. And as this cooks a little more for about another 5 minutes, it will thicken up, and when it cools off, it's gonna get even thicker. So don't let it fool you. This looks so luscious. And of course, as I eat this, I'm gonna be putting some more sour cream on the top. Can't have too much of that. If you don't like sour cream, you could use just cream or even milk. On the other side, my pork is cooking with a chard. And this is probably going to need a little bit of water so the chard can cook up nicely. Deglaze that pan. And I'm gonna keep cooking this for about another 5 minutes with the spices that I put in under cover, only because the chard needs to be cooked. Next, I can add just the bean soup. I think I cooked that broth long enough. There's really not much of a reason how long I cook it. It's really just I want to cook up the onion to kind of blend into the broth. I want to get as much flavor out of the bay leaves as possible. So at this point, I would fish out the bay leaf. I'm gonna dump my home canned beans into this. I need 2 hands for this. Depending on how thick your soup you like, you want more broth, then you can actually add more water to this, which I'm gonna do probably, but since I'm adding also some sour cream to this, I'm gonna go ahead and get some hot water, mix it up with my sour cream so it will blend in better into the soup. So I'm gonna put some hot water into my sour cream, mix that up, dilute it, and that's how I'm gonna put it into the soup so it will be smoother when I put it in there. Now I'm gonna cook this for about 5 more minutes and this should be ready to go. The chicken paprikash is ready. Just wanted to show you how beautiful this is. And I just love this pan. Nothing got stuck to it, even on high temperatures. So I'm gonna just pull this over and I'm gonna start cooking the elbow macaroni. Grandma's bean soup is ready. It's beautiful. I'm gonna just move this somewhere so I can have space for my rice, because that will be next. For the rice, I always start out with a little bit of oil. And this is roughly a cup of rice. That's gonna make 2 generous servings. Just toast it a little bit. A little bit of salt. And you will need a cup and a half water to go with that. So after like 30 seconds, a minute, you toasted the rice. This mug holds a cup and a half water. I'll bring this to boil, cover it, and cook it for 30 minutes. Let's get back to the pork. What I wanted to do is season it and also give it a little bit of a sauce, because I like my stuff saucy. So So far I did not put any salt on this, so I'm gonna put a generous amount of soy sauce, even though this is low sodium, but that will contribute to the sauce. Why is it so slow? So I would say a half a cup of soy sauce, maybe a quarter. I don't know how much I just put in there. Okay. And I'm gonna take some water and a little bit of cornstarch, about a tablespoon of cornstarch, mix it up. So what is this? A half a cup of water and a tablespoon of cornstarch to make the sauce. And I do like my sauce sweet and sour and spicy at the same time, so I'm gonna take some agave syrup. And to balance this out so it's not gonna be just sweet and hot, I need some vinegar. Probably best to use rice vinegar. I don't have any, so I'm just putting in some balsamic vinegar because I have that. And that's also sweet. There we go. It's starting to look pretty good to me. So let's cook this for a little bit. I have salted water, about 2 quarts of water in this pan. And I have a cup and a half of elbow macaroni. Mix this up nicely so it doesn't stick together. And I'm gonna cook this for 10 minutes. We are really cooking now, aren't we? And I have my bean soup in here just because that's the only place I have space right now. While I'm waiting for the rice and the pasta to finish cooking, I'm gonna dish out grandma's bean soup. Probably we'll have some tonight, but for now I'm gonna have 2 containers for the fridge, and if I have any leftover I'm gonna put some into a freezer container as well. Next I'm gonna be serving the chicken paprikash with the elbow macaroni. I'm gonna put them into these divided. Technically you could mix it up, but I don't want the pasta to get soggy. Probably want to make at least 2 servings, as I said, with the 3 serving size pasta. And I'm gonna have a little bit just for tonight as well, just like a half a serving maybe. Just so I can taste it, quality check, make sure it tastes good. So this will be for tonight. I'll divide this into 2.5 servings. Ooh, I'm gonna really enjoy this. Look at how nice that looks. And I can tell you, before even tasting it, that it's gonna be super tasty. Such a simple dish, if you think about the ingredients. Onion, chicken, paprika, and sour cream. So this will be tonight's dinner, mostly. Next thing I'm gonna serve is gonna be the rice with the lemongrass pork. Here's my rice. Just need to be fluffed up a little. And I will make a small dish for tonight just to taste it. And the chard and the pork, lemongrass pork, will be so healthy, good for you. Look at how shiny that is. Is it just me that enjoying the look of this food? And I'm gonna do a little tasting menu tonight. So it's almost 8 o'clock. I've been cooking since what, 6:30? But I made enough food for at least a minimum 3 days, if not 4. So let's look at what we have. 2 servings for the fridge from Grandma's bean soup, and 1 serving for the freezer. 2 servings of the lemongrass pork with chard and rice. 2 servings of chicken paprikash with elbow macaroni. So even if I eat 3 meals a day, that's enough for 2 days, but I only eat 2 meals a day, so here's 3 days for you. Today's tasting menu. So I'm lucky enough where I have a half a serving of Grandma's bean soup. It's savory and yet it's sweet because of the beans. Then I'm gonna enjoy the chard and pork cooked into a savory and sweet lemongrass pork dish with rice. And chicken paprikash topped with the usual sour cream. And as I eat this, I can mix this up and eat it as such, or I can just take a bite from every little piece. Nice and saucy. I hope this gives you some ideas of cooking ahead when you know you're gonna have some busy days coming up. You still have to eat nice, wholesome food. See you next time.